Oh, Sean made me the. Oh, fuck yeah.
Recording in progress. Hello and welcome back to Mountain Goat Gaming. I am Sean. I'm here with lovely co-host Alex, and we are, I was about to say not visited, but we are joined by the second best player in Australia, Tyler.
Hello, how's it going? Oh man, second best?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if I like the sound of that. But I guess I have to eat. I have to eat that shit after I lost to him twice in the
Yeah.
same tourney.
Yeah,
Hey, look,
that's
It's
rough.
just a, it's
I don't
just,
like to
it's a hard knock
support
life.
this meme, but if there was any time to do it,
This
it's
is
right. It is
fuck
right
yeah.
now.
100%.
Yeah.
I guess the standings in the World Championship will dictate otherwise, but we'll go from there.
Well, we might have the best player in Australia and Australia's second best player in Australia here in this video with us. But we're going to talk about how to become the world's best player today. Is that something that the two of you can touch on? People will just have to wait and see. But this is specifically a chat about Ardacon, which the two of you attended, representing Australia, which is absolutely amazing, stellar work. So let's dive into it, boys. Give us a little rundown.
Let's go. Awesome. So the first thing to really talk about, I hit the wrong button, so I can't go to the next slide. That's really sucks.
Yeah.
There we go. So Ardacon gets a lot of hype about being this big tournament. What is it? So Ardacon is kind of a gaming convention to a degree. There is so much on at the same time. It's a 5-day stretch of multiple tournaments going on throughout the entire time. I think we calculated it that if you did everything, even if you didn't make the championship game, you play 18 or 19 games.
Do you?
I think
was it 6?
4 plus 2 plus 6 plus 6.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
That's
that. Yeah,
mental.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
struggle to play 5 games over 2 days, let alone 19 games over 5.
Yeah, so it's super rough. There's still plenty to do between multiple singles, doubles, and multiple ways to play singles. There's kind of the meme format, which you do on 2 of the nights, which is honestly one of my highlights. But we're going to be focusing on the World Championships, which is a solo and team event. So you get up to 9 players in your team. And you go over and you all guaranteed to not play each other, which is nice.
Is it? Are you sure it's guaranteed to not play each other?
In the World Championships.
In the World Championships, it's not. Okay, listen, I may or may not have played one of our teammates in the other events leading up to it. But
I may have then played him the next round.
Oh shit, did you play him round 2? I thought it was round 3.
Oh, round 3 I played him, yes. But that was a bit, especially because did you beat him as well? Yeah, same.
Good job.
I
well
didn't.
done.
Oh man, I felt so bad. I was like, should I have just like done some risky shit and just, not called heroic defenses and stuff? Maybe.
But happily, we went over with a full team of 9 Aussies, ready to go into the World Championships, and really, honestly, the overall goal was to take it home. We wanted to have the top 4 scores of your team count towards your overall score. We wanted to be up there. We knew that the US is coming over. We knew that the GBHL would have their all-star team.
The team specifically built to counter the Australian team?
Sean, I don't want to feed into controversy or rumors. Yes.
So what you're telling me is that we sent over players that could afford to travel over to Ardacon, and the English specifically picked the very best of the very best of the very best in England to... Wow, that says a lot about us. I'd like to think.
Hypothetically say that.
Just, hey, it's an allegation. I understand. It's, I'm not saying it's what happened, but it's a theoretical.
Who knows? So
neither confirm nor deny that.
A quick question though.
Go for it.
Quick question though. Sorry. So when you say the top ranking or top 4 people in your team, is that from both the teams event, as in like the doubles event, and the World Championship event?
Just the World Championship.
Right. Okay. So
So
it's just
the
that one.
yeah, the doubles itself is its own solo thing, and then you have the Masters and the LCQ, which is all entirely separate.
So it's 4 different events.
Yep.
Plus,
Tournaments.
then there's
Five.
Chaos in Arda as
There's
well.
there's
So there's
five,
5.
5 or 6, because there's actually a single day where they do a doubles event
Oh,
as
for those who
well.
can't do 2-day
That
doubles,
can do the
yeah.
2-day doubles. They'll do another just like a
Right.
single day doubles. So I think that's what some
So
of the
technically
Wanderers in the
6, yeah.
Wild did. So yeah, technically 6 events over it. So yeah,
Jeez, that's mental. That is mental.
a lot of games.
Yeah, I was gonna throw over to Tyler to talk about how we as a team kind of talked about putting together lists, what restrictions we had, what we knew about scenarios, and then what in the hell is an oath?
Oh man, where to begin? Okay, so the scenarios are randomly chosen per pool, I'm pretty sure. So it was basically your list needed kind of tailored to a variety of different things, like seize the prize being one of them, where they moving wise, and there was ones that could dictate whether it was like fog of war, dealing with those sorts of scenarios where, hey, you can't have too fragile of a hero, or you have to have contingencies to actually protect that hero. In terms of the actual list building, it was really interesting because I think I was really the only meta sort of pick on our team, I'm pretty sure, or maybe Liam, but I'm pretty sure I was definitely the most meta of all of our picks, because we were like, oh, by the end of the compositions of all of our lists, I don't think we had any Witch Kings.
Yeah, no Witch King, no
And
Kierdan.
no Kierdan, no Galadriel, no blinding light users, I'm pretty sure, which was pretty satisfying considering how we went.
I was going to say, so again, you guys are saying that we
we nerfed ourselves
as a team, we nerfed ourselves
exactly,
going
100%, 100%.
Wow, we're starting to learn a lot about the international community. And I will say though, you saying that you're the only one that takes a medalist is quite in character, considering your background there. If anyone gets that meme, we're not going to say what that meme is, but if anyone understands what that is in reference to, I'm good on it. Good on them. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so the list building portion, it was like, because I originally thought I was going to be taking something with blinding light, and that just didn't end up happening. I was like, oh well, no one's filled the role of we'll get into my list in a second, but yeah, that was one aspect. It was interesting because initially everyone was like, oh, who's taking like Suladan, or who's taking Theoden, is anybody taking Theodred? All these sort of characters that you're like, oh, well, they're actually integral, like needed in my army. It was definitely good at the end where our captain was too, like, she couldn't decide whether or not she would take one of the sort of the meta blinding light picks, or if she would just go off meta with us, and she kind of went off meta and went from there. The oaths, now that's, I can't even remember them. I think I picked one because of the fact that I just couldn't be bothered reading. There was one that was like, it was like one that applied to me was
The
literally
Australian way.
Literally, I
That's
didn't
how
give a
it's
shit.
done.
I was like, what the heck are these things? Like, how are they? And the fact that they're a tiebreaker and they're the highest tiebreaker is craziness. Is
That's
absolutely bonkers. It changes like a little bit of the way that you play in some of the international players play, because you can definitely tell they'll try and like, and we can talk about it as we go on, but they'll go for ties and make sure they get their oath and then walk away from the table knowing that they got their points and walked away. And you're just like, yeah, I love this game.
That's brutal.
So yeah, it's send a message was one I always did, because it was like, or my default, unless they vetoed it, and then I didn't know what the hell to do after that, because that one was the one who was like, you could
we'll get into the
it.
specifics of them as well. The main thing to remember is essentially there are additional objectives you can do during the game. They don't give you VPs, but denying your opponent achieving their oath was the first tiebreaker. So VP differential did not count. It was that was third. The first thing was making sure your opponent didn't score oaths, and the second was you scoring oaths.
Yes.
and they then
That-
VP.
Then VPs.
Really,
So
that
a
really
1-0
changes the way you play games.
100%. So a 1-0 win with your oath is worth far more, and denying your opponent's oath is worth far more than a 12-0 win, but your opponent gets their oath and you don't.
Well, I actually really like this. This is starting to really click into my play style of just going for the really small wins. Your dog.
Red card, mate. Red card.
So,
Like, what the
we'll have a
hell?
look. I think some of these are good and interesting. Some of them are, as we'll see, obtusely wordy.
Mm, I don't know how to read.
So we'll go really quickly.
I'm 21 and I don't know how to read.
I'm legally blind. So really quickly, the basics of it: duelist, your leader wounds their leader, but your leader doesn't get wounded back by their leader. Sick.
That's
Send a
fun.
message, kill their most important model that's not their leader.
Yeah, their highest pointed model.
Highest pointed. If they have the worst bit, that I couldn't understand why. If it was a paired model like Elden and Nori,
You have to kill them both.
Which is
Brutal.
horrific.
Brutal.
Master Tactician, for the basics, whoever had less models puts down an objective marker. You want the most people on the objective marker. Behind enemy lines, you choose a hero or troops to essentially go to the back 3 inches of the board of your opponent's board edge and sit there.
Interesting.
And so at the start of the game, you would veto one of them for your opponent to choose. They would veto one for you to choose, and then you'd log it on, and that would be done. And that was before deployment.
Yeah, before deployment, before anything, you literally had to do it. But there was too many times, like there was like 2 or 3 times where you forget about it, and then you'd be like, "Oh shit, we haven't done oaths." And it's like, "Oh, whoops." and so all of a sudden you see the guy be like, "Oh, I get to put my objective marker right on the side where all my guys are. Perfect." It's like, "Oh,
really?
Yeah."
That's...
and you're just like, "Oh, thanks." But
yeah,
it's just how it goes. Like you can't plan for that stuff, and it's like sometimes it's not meant to be harmful where they place it. It's just, but at that point when you're already in turn 1, you can see where the thing is. Like
yeah, it was very interesting, and that does relate to how we ended up playing the game. Because again, the kind of motto we went into the game with was secure the win. Go for your oath, deny your opponent. Like you have to do
denying the oath,
denying
them was everything. Like you play for the win, deny oath.
Yep. As soon as someone made a move to like put dudes on the objective, assuming you were already winning, you flood the objective. Which seems so contrary, but yeah. So we'll get straight into it.
Yeah.
Whoa,
you missed something.
You missed something.
Whoa.
Did I?
Make sure to subscribe to Mountain Go Gaming.
What am I doing?
Let's go, Tyler. Come on, mate.
He's
Get
so
in
on
there.
it.
Get down.
No question.
Tell us why Australia is clearly the best nation at playing this game. Subscribe. All that fun.
We're gentlemen.
Also, the one person on a Conquest Creations video that said I would never hold up in the UK, can you just watch the rest of the video and then let me know what you think about that at the end of the video? That'd be great.
Do you know what'd be really funny if that's the same dude that you versed that told you your hobbits were shit?
Surely not.
I would never say that shit. So that
surely not. That seems
plausible.
So let's
see
your
next.
Cool. So whose list is this?
So this is actually mine for the purposes of our team event. So I took Kylie's Masters Invitational Masters list. Yep, my list that I did concocted myself clearly because I can write lists. Either way, it's just Muzzir, Drizhag, Mori Goblin, Shaman, or Captain, and basically it goes more beast heavy than it does model count heavy and trying to spam out bows and shit. So the main thing is literally utilizing the spiders, the 4 giant spiders, and the bats to really just manipulate the board as best as you can and going from there. The Wog Riders are really cheeky because you can dismount them, and all of a sudden your Wogs actually have a chance of sticking around, and so you get more beast utility with that. So that's also a good option.
Oh, because they go to Courage 4 as soon as they dismount?
Exactly. So as soon as you dismount, you still get the Courage 4 within 12 inches of Drizhag. So they're also semi-utility that sometimes opponents don't see coming, and you're like, oh, interesting. So yeah, this was my list. Loved it. Loved playing it. I think it does really well. I think the major counter is something that can kite it, or really like Arnor spam or Lake Town spam can give it a little bit of trouble. And the mirror match, of course, because they'll have more bows and can shoot your stuff, shoot your works out pretty quick. So,
Yeah, because I assume the classic version of this would be dropping maybe a bat swarm or mostly giant spiders and gets like
giant,
50,
two giant spiders. Yeah, you go
gets
down
like
to
52 models or so.
Yeah, it's that 50. It's the one Dave Farmer won with, because he had the two giant spiders, two bats.
Yeah,
and yeah, kind of that's the general gist.
but yeah, it's such a solid list. It does everything that you can possibly want. It kills heroes. It can shoot well. It fights amazing.
I was one tapping stuff, and I should not have been one tapping stuff.
100%.
There is a reason AOL does so well at any tournament that it shows up with.
Yeah,
almost no wrong way to build it. Really, there's
just ways you want to play
it.
It's just ways we want to play it. Do you want to play it like your opponent actually has a chance in terms of like actually engaging it, or are you going to kite and shoot for days? It's just depends. It really just depends. But yeah, I like this one because it's so aggressive.
And go for draws, or do you want to go be an Australian and win your games?
Listen.
I don't know.
I didn't go for draws. I went for the wins. Okay, I
was about to say, yeah, the way you play this as well is just baiting them in and then hyper aggro.
Love to just send. I love to send it. I can't stand
which is scary, because when you expect the tempo to be a certain way, and then it just goes way too fast. If you can't catch up immediately, you're left in the dust.
You're out of the game. Yeah. And that's what this list does. As soon as I can take advantage, it does. Cool.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Easy.
And I'm pretty boring because you
gotta suck the poison out.
It's just life advice, dude. But yeah, this is very much the classic Serpent Horde list I've been toting around on other YouTube channels. Suladan, the Betrayer, my Taskmaster, and Raza. Lots of bows, lots of poison, lots of rerolls, a little bit of magic support. It just kind of it gives the illusion of a shooting army, and as soon as I get you in, I'm killing you just as fast.
Yeah, this
even
list
faster
gives me trauma, PTSD, everything. Yeah, brother.
Did I have to play? Oh yeah, I was about to say, have you had to play this? Yeah, you do.
Yeah. This scares me.
See, when we were doing practice games against this, it was funny because I brought like 14 elf bows to try and just deal with this, and even then I was like, this sucks. Like,
yeah, because I was like, this is really early on. I was just misplaying and tried to take the shooting war against Lothlorien with blinding light, and I was like, this doesn't work, and so I just sent it with marches, got into combat, and just killed everything.
Yeah, it was like,
it
was so dumb.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a list I'm very comfortable with. It did mean, because obviously, well, I don't know if we actually mentioned it, per team, you can't double up on named heroes.
So, interesting.
So it's probably worth mentioning. So we had a really, obviously we didn't have a Witch King or anything. We had a very large spread of armies. So we had Goblin Town, Theodred's Guard, your AOL, Eagles, Minas Tirith, Thranduil's Halls, Khazad-dûm,
and the Mumak.
And the Mumak.
KD? Oh, that's got to be Jackie Stockton with the Mumak, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so that was the only kind of the only layover we had was which one of the Farharad would take Suladan. In the end, it actually made far more sense for Jack to take a Mahud King, because it just means he fits more
Haradrim King.
Haradrim King, sorry.
Yeah.
Just because he gets more dudes on the board, which he really needs with the Mumak in the Legion.
Yeah.
But more yeah, so no Serpent Horde mortal whatsoever. I took control of him, and yeah, we'll get into it. Hopefully the Taskmaster held up.
Now, just a quick question before we... It's not about list, so it doesn't matter what slide we're on.
Go for it.
But you mentioned you're very comfortable with this list. And that's a list that you've been playing for a little while, the past year or so, I want to say. When you go into a tournament this big, would you prefer to be playing something that you are comfortable with, or something that leans into the meta a bit more? We spoke about us, or like the Australian team, not really leaning into the meta as much. But what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, you take it, man. Go for it.
Uh,
You and I have very different outlooks.
so I was very much leaning into what I felt like I could take something comfortable initially, which was like my Elendil Galadriel. I always loved that combo as my go-to for a lot of when I started the game, but when I saw the compositions of a lot of the team's lists, I was like one of the last few to choose and like confirm what I was doing. I When you have such a powerful legendary legion, it's like, yeah, you need to have at least somebody on the team. I felt that we need to have somebody on the team take it, whether it was myself or Kylie.
Yeah.
I've only had one tournament experience with AOL, but I felt I could pilot it well enough to get the most out of it. And I just was like, it matched my play style that I did with Galadriel and Elendil in terms of tempo and trying to just force the initiative. So it was like, yeah, I just needed to fill that role of taking the meta. But in the end, in the other event, in the Masters Invitational, I took a comfortable list that I loved and got me the ticket to get in. So I would say it's either or, but depending on your team is can it's what swayed me more to take AOL.
No, fair.
Yep. I'm always going to lean towards comfortable. I don't want to be having to make hard decisions in game that rotate around not knowing the payoff of certain moves that my army makes. I want to generally know roughly how much the army can take and what the army can do, and then make the hard decisions based on what my opponent is doing and the kind of nitty gritty. Because I feel like, again, the less decisions you need to make in game, the better.
Yeah, no, I think I lean towards that camp a lot more. I've never been to an event as large as Ardacon, but I feel like the first thing that comes to my mind if I think of going to Ardacon is me taking either Dale or Gondor, solely on the fact that I'm so comfortable with both of those lists. Are they considered top tier stuff? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But I feel like I'm better as a player with a list that I enjoy playing. I'm a lot more comfortable with. But it's interesting that you looked at Tyler there. You looked at the team aspect, what everyone else is taking, and then you go, cool. Do I have to take one for the team to bump this up or whatever? So yeah, no, that's interesting outlooks there. Awesome. Let's move on to the games.
Let's get into it. So, round one, and I don't know what it was about drawing Contest of Champions round one, but it just felt like it was just
stinky.
just straight into the thick of it.
Yucky.
It was just pedal to the metal, fighting turn one, which I actually kind of didn't mind, but it just feels like such a, not swingy, but it's just all a bit all over the place, and it was just kind of luck of the draw to a degree where who knows what will happen. So Tyler, tell us about your round one game.
Okay, so to sort of go through real quick, so Goblin Town, he had the Goblin King. I, of course, my contest of champion freaking hero is Musger, and I'm like, great, thank you, but no thank you. So first turn, or basically the way the game played out was I would pin the Goblin King with one guy and throw a bunch of prowlers and orc goblin shots and everything into that combat and try and just kill him or kill the guy he was in combat with. And to be honest, it was pretty successful. The first turn was pretty crazy. I did 8 goblin prowler shots and managed to get 3 wounds on the Goblin King, and he didn't blubber save any of them. And then basically he spent his fate point and rolled a 1. He had to spend all 3 might to survive. And he's just like, what the? And I'm like,
That's not supposed to happen.
I'm like, this is great. And so he kills either way though, he still survives. And of course the guy he's in combat with survived. And I'm like, oh, for sake. And so he kills that guy, and I'm like, okay, great. So now Musger has to try and find a kill somewhere. Next turn, either way, I win the move off, one tap the Goblin King with like a spider. I think the spider does 7 wounds to the Goblin King. Yeah,
Just enraged and
just
trapped and
enraged and
everything?
trapped it, and then he was just like, "Oh
Because
wow,
he's
that's
Sorry,
D5,
sir.
isn't he?
yes, he's D5." So
Yeah.
strength
Strength
7,
7 with rerolls.
re-rolling ones. I was like, three's re-rolling ones. I was like, this feels comfortable. This
Yum,
feels
yum, yum, yum,
sane.
yum. I love
So
the taste of goblin. Yeah.
and then Musger was like, oh, don't worry, sir. I'll spear support and get you back the kills. So he kills. He's still in the game, though, because he still has Golem. But what he does is he gets Golem in, and he calls a strike with Golem, I'm pretty sure, with the ring on. And I'm like, okay, cool, no worry. Or I can't remember what he used Golem's might for. Maybe it was a move. Either way, he gets into Musger, and Musger's like, oh, okay, interesting. 1v1's Golem, and literally just one taps him the first turn.
Oh,
Two wounds, and then he failed his fate, and I was like,
and you get the might back as well. For
and I got the
killing a hero.
might and the
Yeah.
will. And
Yeah.
the will.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Musgo's. Oh, that's beautiful.
So yeah, that's how that game went basically, and then it just cascaded from there. After the Goblin King died, I was like, cool, I can get back my kills. And I think
So
Musger ended with, like,
Bill and
3.
Tom's presence in that game, nah.
Mm-mm.
Because I assume how many models with those 3 big heroes and
he had
Golem?
33.
Yeah,
And
that's
he
not the
only
number
and he
you
had
wanna
a
hear.
limit of how many goblins. He only had like 11 spare or something, because he got the the 36. I think it's like the 36 pack of goblins. That's all he had. So that's all he had in total of goblins. So he
Oh,
couldn't
no.
bring on a lot of reinforcements. So I
scribe.
was like, I'm comfortable. This is
Brother's
good.
just
This
brother's
is
nerfing
chill.
himself there.
I'm
Yeah,
like, this is
jeez.
so I was like, this is good. But Bill was scary until a enraged spider and bat swarm went into him, and then it was like, oh, you're less scary after the
You can only snot on one of us.
exactly. That's what the snot. I was like, oh, I have 2 bat swarms and 2 spiders. Which one are you gonna snot, buddy? Either way, we can run this. So yeah.
Oh,
And the prowlers are just broken. I don't understand. Plus
God,
3
I
to
love-
wound. I was like,
Prowlers are so good, right?
scrumptious. So yeah, that's how game 1 went for me. How about
Hell
you,
yeah.
Alex?
Game 1, I was versing Moria, so it was pretty standard for the most. So Durbers, Groblog, a captain and a shaman, and a cave drake. And immediately I was kind of Durbers was behind the lines, but he had like a little gap so he could run forward when needed. Luckily though, I really thought the Drake was going to go dead center right in front of me and then make me deal with it. He put him right on a flank, like kind of out. Like, it was within maybe 10 inches of the board edge, and there was a house in the way as well. I'm like, beautiful. I assumed you wanted to like get into my flank and hurl through it, but I've got delaying tactics. He's a bit away, so I'm just throwing Serpent Riders at him and throwing a Transfix now and then. The issue for Fabi was turn 1, he wins priority. I don't know if I even went for the move off, or if I did, the Taskmaster gave me a free heroic move. He puts Durbers in, and there's just a little gap in my line, and Swordon can't fit through it. He's too big. He's on a horse.
But
Raza can. And so Raza just goes, okay, you random bowman, get out of the way. I'm going in. I don't even think I threw a transfix at him that turn. He actually decided not to strike because he got the crown off. He went to fight 5, and he went, I don't think you've chosen Durbers. I think you've chosen the Cave Drake. And I went, well, we're doing the fight now, and I'm fight 6.
Thank you.
I then roll 3 wounds, and he dies.
oh, brother.
Ew, brother, stop.
Ooh,
What
no.
is
And so
that?
immediately the mood is I'm chilling. His leader's dead. I need to kill 3 goblins.
I just got just
Yeah,
want to
go for
touch
it.
on there. What dice were you using? Were you using Silmarillion dice? Because if
Nah,
you were,
it's his casino dice, 100%.
I don't actually know what I used for that roll. It could have been my red casino dice. I used a bit of sil dice. I'll
See
be
that
honest.
shit?
The One Ring dice also did a bit of good stuff.
Man, it's that bullshit.
Sean thinks they're broken. I
They
think
are
those-
broken.
Those
it's like
seal,
me.
those
They're
seal dice
crazy.
are cooked.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank-
And the issue was that I got so comfy that the next turn, and I killed a lot of stuff that first turn. The next turn, I don't know what happened. I lost like 8 dudes. And I was like, that's not okay. And then Sul'dan went to him and the betrayer went to a goblin captain. I called a combat and I spent a might to win the fight. So I'm down to 1, and I don't kill him. And I just do that for a couple turns, and I'm like, oh, Sul'dan's still on 1 kill. And the cave drake's starting to get into my backline. And he got to I just started like going, oh no, I can't throw this. I can't throw this game. Luckily, and what I ended up doing is finally using the betrayer's might, heroic combat off the captain. Sul'dan gets a might point back, dismount him to get into 2 more dudes, get the 2 kills. I'm laughing.
Chilling.
Eventually managed to just hold off the cave drake. The betrayer ends up running to the back line to get my oath and deny his, and I believe it was an 8-1 win because we ended up both breaking at the end. But yeah, pretty happy to say the least. Turn 1 shot of their leader.
Yeah, that's
Take that all day.
I have
All
sensational.
day.
Yeah. So wins all round.
that's what we want
Round
to hear.
2, Fog of War.
Jorgen.
Yes. Yeah, no. So I'll get into it. So I played against Hits of Doldor, which I completely forgot was a legendary legion, and I've never played against it before. And he was like, I was like, what's because he goes, oh, you know what the surprise attack does, right? And I was like, oh yeah, go ahead, let's run it.
It's like the Hobbits, yeah.
A few moments later, no. I was like, wait, what? I can't call
Hold
a move? Nah, you're God. So I had to quickly glance through the rules. Either way, get into it. He has 2 captains, Azog and Thrain. He deploys Thrain out in Whoop Whoop. And basically we move up, engage. My shooting does duck all the shit until we get close, and my goblin prowlers are finally in range. So my 8 goblin prowlers, the first time they were in range, 5 hunter orcs just came off the table. Just
Dude,
he was like, but those are my no, it wasn't hunter orcs. That's why he was shocked. It was his Gundabad orcs with shields, and he was like, well, you needed 5s to wound him. And I'm like,
and I rolled it.
I did. You're right.
Yeah.
When you're right, you're right.
Goodbye.
And so they came off, and
Oh,
then
no.
his captain on the left side. It was funny because I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna bait that captain to move backwards to just stay away from the center. I get 3 wounds on the captain. The captain's gone just from pure orc shooting. And so he's just like, oh, great. Was that your target? And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe. Like, keep in mind, it wasn't. It was the captain that was being escorted by Azog. Because he switched up. And I was like, oh, shit. Why is he coming with this? Why is Azog escorting this one? I need to kill this one. Either way, I think his hunter orc captain 1-tapped my orc captain when I tried to charge and assassinate him, and I was like, great, so maybe I've lost my Fog of War target just from that.
And were you protecting Dobos? Sorry,
Drizhag.
Drizhag, yeah.
Drizhag, 100%. The army, he did the surprise attack, but the thing about AOL is it's so read and reactive that I didn't even care. I was like, oh, you can move? Like, I don't care. Go ahead.
I feel like you nearly want to hold it for like late game when you're trying to get into objectives and get those last minute plays.
Yeah, 100%. His Warhorn was like out in Whoop Whoop too. He was like in one of the terrain pieces that I was of course going for because the other one was of course clear. But the funniest thing was he's like, oh, surprise attack. I'm like, okay, cool. Charges Azog in. And I'm like, yeah, those are my 2 orc trackers. Okay, cool. Pull back all 8 of my goblin prowlers. It was like,
yeah. And Azog's D5 and then he doesn't get the armor. So
Yeah.
when you're on
Forced to-
fours,
Forced to
oh,
wound. I was like, this is scrumptious. I don't even wound Azog, but I kill his white wog.
oh my.
Unbelievable.
And I'm just like, this is going well, boys. We're doing it. And so then it continues, kills the Hunter Orc captain. I finally break him, starts doing courage checks. Thrain fucks off. The Hunter Orc in the wood with the war horn goes away. And then I hit the terrain piece is clearly going for both of the Hunter Orcs basically run away, and he has no points at that time. And then I'm just like, that next turn, kill everything, and the only thing left on the board is just Azog just on his butt because he rolled a 1 for the expert rider as well.
Oh.
And he's just on his butt, and I'm just like, "Do you want to call it there?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's GG."
It's just a big
And I'm
fat
like-
12-0.
And I'm like, "Yeah, it was 12. Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
was 12-0. Yeah, 100%."
Yeah.
Because if he had gotten his terrain, I felt bad because of course he had played it smart. You put like 2 or 3 guys in the terrain piece, but as soon as you go to courage 2,
Yeah.
I'm like, can't
That
really
horn
rely on
needed
it.
to stick
Needed
around.
to stay. Needed to stay.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that was all. So
Love it. 2 wins
Wild.
in. I was playing Stefan, who, funnily enough, was Tyler, your partner's doubles partner
Yes.
in the days prior.
yes.
So I will
Bears.
say, lovely opponent. Had actually a lot of fun. He was playing Thranduil's Halls, Thranduil, Legolas, and then 1 Sentinel, a couple Palace Guard. Just the honestly stock standard.
Stock standard.
Yeah. Main thing was I'm protecting the Betrayer. That's always going to be the case. My other D5 heroes are just a bit too squish for Legolas to knife him.
Note to self: make sure everyone watching, if you play Alex with this thing, he's always protecting the betrayer. Like, go for his VPs.
No. No. What if I want to play this list again?
That's sorry. Whoops.
And obviously he has Legolas as his second hero, so on my target has to be Legolas. He has to be protecting Legolas, so a lot of points stacked on him. We go into it and we get into some opening shots. Nothing really happening. I think we drop 2 or 3 people each max, maybe 5 before combat goes really hard. Legolas and 3 archers staying right at the back of the board. Legolas is not risking himself whatsoever. He's getting opportunistic shots, trying to just annoy me, take shots at Raza. And everyone else is going hard up the right flank. And I've kind of spread out. I've kind of presented a united front. But Thranduil and yes, the 20-something elves are just storming through these Osgiliath ruins. I think I leave a slowdown force of about 6 or 7 Haradrim just to hold them off. Legolas's half warband of 7 or 8 dudes on the right side, I gun for. I think I march right up into their face. I don't have a hero with them because Legolas is off the back of the board. I heroic move the next turn and essentially just wipe them out. And now I'm sitting on my objective. Thranduil's gotten like 6 or 7 of my dudes, but I'm on my objective having killed more elves. And I'm feeling pretty good. And I'm sitting there going, if I heroic march next turn, I'm going to start pulling Legolas in. I'll compel him into the open. I'll shoot him if I need to. If I can't reach him, we can make this work. And I'm feeling pretty good. He's close to break. And then my Taskmaster fails a Sentinel check. And then he runs into the middle of the board. And then Thranduil walks up and Nature's Wraths him. Doesn't get to charge though. But he's down. And I go, well, I guess I'm not doing that because it's the target. I need to hold on to this. I'm on my objective. I need to play for the VPs. Everything swings back into the middle. And it becomes these last 3 desperate turns of, I've got my objective. I'm going to be able to probably flood yours. If you get this kill, we draw. If I keep you to a wound or I get him out, I win. And I'm pulling off. I'm throwing like 5 dice compels to make sure I can move stuff around. I'm calling like heroic strikes just to kill certain dudes, to forge a gap in. And it comes down to the last turn. My Taskmaster's still been prone the whole time because he keeps getting charged every turn, but I keep on surviving, but not standing up because I keep losing the fight. with these, and again, he's winning on 5s and 4s with these palace guards, so he should be getting the kills through. Last combat, I think he rolls a 3 high, and I'm like, Taskmaster, you got 2 dice and a reroll, Snake Eyes, and then the 2 to follow it up, and then he dies. And I managed to get onto his objective to do it, but a 7-7 draw, such a tight game. It was awesome. But for the game to be like, I felt so in the swing of it. I was ready to jump onto Legolas, and that would have been a massive point swing to get my target, stop his protect. But that one courage check just changed the game completely. But yeah, a really enjoyable game though. So unfortunately, dropping some points, but I I actually didn't get my oath, but also denied his. So again, that's still solid in the books, because that's the difference between a major and minor win, is denying an oath essentially. So
yeah,
you got to take those, yeah, for sure.
Hey, mad respect for not playing for the draw and going for that win.
Oh yeah,
Cringe.
Love that.
Cringe.
Yes.
And here we go.
Divide and conquer.
Last game of day 1.
Yes.
Well, again, this is day 4 of the tournament.
Yes, day 4.
So this is
double host.
We're both playing. I didn't even realize we were both playing host.
We were both playing host. Yeah.
But you had a interesting match against a known opponent.
Yeah, so we traveled 18,000 kilometers to play a guy that traveled 20,000 kilometers from New Zealand. Woo! I mean, no. Either way. Denny was a wonderful opponent. Probably my best opponent that I played against. Like, he was just so much fun. And when we played Divide and Conquer, I outpositioned him to the point where I got him to burn both of his Dragon Knights points of might for moves, just so I outpositioned, outplayed him to where he had to commit these, and I hadn't burned any might, nothing.
I assume the Dragon Knight was the one by himself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so as soon as he did that, I was like, oh, perfect, easy. And I also got him to overcommit and overplay Brorgear as well, and he overcommitted with like 7 guys over in La La Land, trying to like chase down my like couple of orcs that were escorting Musger. And I was like, yeah, cool, you can go off in La La Land. Either way, the game was it ended up being like a little bit of a stalemate, because he was having trouble just trying to keep a little bit of the pace, just because the positioning that I was doing was just forcing him to have to think for ages of just, how do I react to this? Where do I go? How do I set up to try and set and receive? And it didn't click for him until I think it was like the last 2 or 3 turns that he was just like, wait, I just need to be in the middle and just clog it as much as I can, just to try and buy time, and then literally kind of play to win the middle and win one of the outer objectives. Unfortunately, though, AOL is a pain in the butt and literally breached that wall, and so it was a pretty interesting predicament. So that middle collapsed for him to the point where he had to dismount his Dragon Emperor to flood out the numbers to try and just go, okay, cool, my numbers I'm not getting overwhelmed to the point where I'm getting killed by a bunch of Goblin Prowlers just eating me through. At least then he clogged it up enough to where he would lose the middle, but not lose full 5 points for it. The other crazy part was his Brorgear expedition finally led him to the other side of the objective, where I had some guys, and it was just, man, Brorgear is freaking annoying. He has too many magical spells, and Tremor just sucks. I hate Tremor. I had to deal with it 2 weekends in a row. I had to deal with it in Tassie.
You love Tremor. Historically, you love Tremor.
Tremor gives me such PTSD.
And
Tremor,
you know what all the rules
Tremor
do?
gates suck.
Tremor gate.
It sucks, okay? And literally, Brorgear, he had a beautiful line, and he automatically knocked Musger on his ass, to where then his Easterlings could swarm him and then just go, bye, done. And I was like, oh, great. So now I'm battling back for the leader VPs. But then It was such a close game in the end that it ended up being a 4-4 draw, literally.
There
And
you
it
go, wow.
actually, but the beauty of that game was it actually played out to a draw. It wasn't like it was
natural. Okay.
natural draw. It wasn't like it was, oh, well, I felt cheated because of timing or you slow played or any. No, it was literally like we both were like, holy shit, that was a game.
That was a
Freaking game, and I'm happy for that one to have been a draw because we both felt like we were in it. He obviously goes, if it lasts longer, the Goblin Prowlers probably chew through that middle, and then the Dragon Emperor is exposed with a couple spiders and a bat swarm. So you can kind of, in
Imagine where that's
theory,
going.
imagine how much resources will the Dragon Emperor give up before he gets killed. But yeah, either way, that was an awesome game. How about yourself, Alex?
Yeah, so also Dragon Emperor, Captain Dragon Knight though. So the Dragon Emperor had a captain with him to be march drumming. So he was going rapid on one side. The other side was a Dragon Knight and maybe 6 dudes bubble wrapping him. I double marched turn 1 because I believe it was Taskmaster Raza on one side, Betrayer and Swordan on the other.
Mm-hmm.
Double march in the center. He doesn't seem like to be. He's not gunning for one of my sides. He's just gunning it straight for the middle again. He's fight 5, and we're playing on a board that has 4 Osgiliath Ruins in kind of a diamond, and it's just the perfect way to put like 3 dudes there and just go, you can't get through.
Yeah,
which would have sucked. It was, I think, about turn 3 when I went, you know what? You're gonna have the center. I can't contest you because I didn't get any Taskmaster rolls off. I'm gonna just half move a turn and see what I can do the Dragon Knight's side, just to see what can happen. And I sneak 1 wound through. And I go, oh, that's enough. Next turn, I believe it was a 4 dice black dart. Get him. No, doesn't have
he
to
has
spend.
no will.
He has no will. He has no fate. I don't even know if I don't remember if I even had to spend a might. It was just that I got the 6 to cast, I got the 3+ to wound, and 2 might disappear. And I went, sick. That's good.
That's awesome. Nice.
Except all this that half move especially meant the Dragon Emperor got to the middle. His dudes formed a great semicircle and just covered about 2.5 Osgiliath ruins. And I went, yeah, this is just classic. Can I punch through? Fight 5 D6 pike wall. Initially, no. The answer is no. No.
That's the usual answer. Yeah.
I'm slowly trying to work my way around the flanks, but it's with troops. My heroes are stuck behind this Osgiliath ruin that I just can't break through.
Damn.
And I'm really struggling. I'm going, well, what do I have to like pull some stuff out? And I eventually go, I need to focus everything into one section. I need to focus on the widest section possible because I need to fit through, and I need to punch a hole. And it ended up being a combination of a Raza Heroic Combat, a Swordan Strike Up, and a Betrayer Compel all on the same turn to push enough of a hole that was the size of a cat base. His Dragon Emperor was slightly mispositioned where he did the heroic move, wouldn't have caught everyone. And I went, sick, and just pushed through. I think Raza just went onto the Dragon Emperor just to hold him in place, to hold him to a bad heroic move for the next turn as well. Nice. And that whole section that I just couldn't break through flooded through. I think even Swordan just went 2 more dudes, heroic struck up, killed 2 more just to widen the gap. And that was everything I needed. Raza, though, absolute clutch king, goes into, I think, a 1 might Dragon Emperor, but still has 2 free rerolls every combat. He is my target, though. So we're both flat 6. You just have an Elven Blade. Absolutely fluffs it. Raza does, I believe, 2 or 3 wounds. I think it was 2.
What the heck? You need 6s. What the?
He spends all 3
really
fate.
Does.
He spends all 3 fate, and I think goes down to 2 wounds. I'm just doing everything up. I'm not doing anything down. I'm just going. I get the leader wound.
Just
I'm like,
get the cheeky point and go.
Taskmaster clutches up again. Gets a heroic move off. I think it's Betrayer probably calls it, but Taskmaster makes it free. It guarantees my army just has to flood through one side. He has to pull pikes off the other flank so that side gets easier to push through. My long flank around the back of them starts to come through. Raza 1v1s the Dragon Emperor again. And kills him.
Oh,
Nah.
stop.
Listen,
You're
it was so
kidding
You can't
me.
even-
You
You
needed
can't even
two
say
more.
that.
You needed two more sixes. You can't say it like it's nonchalant. Like you're like,
I
I'm
think I-
expecting this.
What
This happens on the regular.
what microwave do you own and where do I buy it?
It's-
That's
Oh
wild.
man. Talk about
Yeah.
loaded. What the
So
Brother just said that so casually,
Exactly.
Tyler. Yeah,
no,
just
it was
like he just
crazy.
like he just
might have had a
takes off
spear support. He
Dragon
might have had a
Emperors
spear support.
like
I'll
nothing.
admit.
I
I'm
don't
not
care
sure.
what he had.
who's the
Freaking-
Dragon Emperor?
Who is that? Wait a
This-
minute.
look,
This
that's the
200 point
most-
model gets one
I'm
tap
gonna
by
be honest.
75 points.
Get out of
I
here.
I talk a lot of smack about the Dragon Emperor, but the 3 or 4 times I've had to play against him competitively, he's either been killed by a Raza or killed by a Farmer Maggot in a hole.
Listen, Farmer Maggot is different. I can
He's different.
understand
He is
Farmer
built
Maggot.
different.
He's built different.
True,
He
yeah.
should
The
be
Farmer
killing-
Maggot strength
he
4
should be
plus
killing
1
it.
is better
I
than
am-
Raza with rerolls. You're right.
Exactly. That's what I'm like. What? Wait a minute. They're not even the same.
Oh.
But everything just fell apart at that point. Even though he spawned more dudes on there, losing the banner, losing the fight 5 means my heroes just start to go insane.
Bing bong.
And you can't stop much of that. And I believe it was a 10-0. I'm looking at it. It was a 10-0 win.
Let's go. Let's go.
I got my oath because I wanted to kill his most expensive non-leader, which was the Dragon Knight, which I got turn 4 or so.
Yep.
And he didn't get his oath because I didn't do whatever he was trying to do.
Deny
So
those
good win. We're both
oaths.
2
Yeah.
wins and a draw. We've
nice.
both denied all 3 oaths, and I think
Yeah.
I scored 2, you scored 1 or 2.
One. I think this one was actually yeah. I only scored the one.
Yeah.
I scored the one.
And that was day
No,
1.
no, 2. I scored
Two?
2. I scored
Sick.
one for game 1, game 2. I got it. Denny's, I definitely did not. No.
Yeah, fair. You're too busy on trying to
Trying to
pull the win
fight
out.
for my life.
Yeah, exactly. That's day 1.
That's day
Big day of games. We're both 2 wins and a draw though.
So you go
We're
out
off.
drinking, you get drunk, you come back, you're dusty for day
Absolutely.
2.
That was
Bro, it was
the
my-
issue.
It was
You-
my
you didn't go
birthday
to
on the
bed
Thursday.
early?
It was literally my birthday on the Thursday, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna drink." Literally had I think I was having rum and cokes whenever I went back to the room, and she'd be like, "Yeah, this is nice."
Hell
It was actually no. This was not. This is not the end of day 1 because the night before we're staying in the hotel where the event is being held. And so every morning we're having brunch, going to the tournament, going back to the bar, drinking and eating, going to sleep, and just waking up and doing it all again. Friday night, it's like 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m. And we're like, okay, it's just another three games tomorrow. We'll run it back again. And then one of the guys, I think it was some of the Dutch guys we'd become friends with, were like, no guys, it's 4 games tomorrow.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's what Kylie lied to us.
Yeah.
Kylie lied to us. No, she said 3
She said
days, day
she told
1.
us. Nah. So we immediately went, oh no, and went back to bed. I'm pretty sure Tyler, you crawled into bed and had to tell Chelsea that was the case as well.
She was not happy. She was like, 4 games, this is ridiculous. I'm like, I'm sorry.
So we go to round 4 on day 1, tired as all hell, having to keep going, and you had to do the same thing again against Pitts, but with a keeper, not a captain.
With a keeper this time. And then Thrain scared the living crap out of me when he rolled double snake eyes and turned into a freaking
Oh,
monster.
That's not how it works.
Isn't he? It was
He has to pass with doubles.
Oh. I
Oh,
think either way. I don't
uh-oh.
Either way,
Someone
either way,
did a fucky
it's okay. It's okay.
Him.
It's okay.
You might be a delectable drink.
He got
but-
he got one tap. He got one tap by 6 orcs that trapped him. He didn't roll high. Don't worry about it. It's done.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine. You just
Cheating.
gotta say you're fine.
Doesn't matter.
You just
Just
gotta
win.
Say Pim was one of the most lovely opponents as well. He definitely he was awesome. Awesome play against, absolute gentleman. Whole ground though, I think my Goblin Shaman doesn't come on, but my 3 other warbands come on all together. Start moving towards the middle. His Keeper of the Dungeons doesn't come on for 2 turns, same as my Goblin Shaman. And then his Keeper finally comes on. And then I roll to come on with my Goblin Shaman. And of course, my Goblin Shaman has like 4 Prowlers and 4 archers in the warband, and it would deploy. And he was contemplating deploying that warband right behind the keeper and his like 4 hunter orcs, and I was just like, deploy it there, please. I would happily shoot out the keeper of the dungeons right now and just one tap him. I have no issues. So he doesn't do that because he's like, oh wait, you have how many prowlers and how many archers? And I'm like, oh, I have 4 and 4. He's like, okay, never mind. So he deploys him in some corner, and I'm like, cool. So I keep moving. I basically flood the middle. The other thing, I guess, one of the crazy things was clarification on terrain at Ardacon was a little bit of a hit or miss, because of the fact that there was the tents in the middle. There wasn't clear instruction on how to treat those tents. Could you land on them with bats? Could you crawl up them with spiders? Could you land them with eagles? So on and so forth.
And these are the orcish kind of tents with the kind of flat tops, but not really.
Yeah,
so
look, you could
literally,
you could sit it up there. The models could sit up there and they could balance. The issue was, though, that I didn't like was they were like, oh, well, you know what? You can discuss it between you and your opponent. And I'm like, in some respects, that just should not be the way it goes. Because
you want it, and your
I
opponent
want
doesn't.
it, but my opponent doesn't. So I want an unbiased opinion on how to treat this piece of terrain. That's it. And they just wouldn't do that. And I think that's something for next year that I hope that they do, that they have clarification on those things. Because basically I was using the tents. We came to an agreement. He was like, look, you can balance them, fine. We can play with the tents. I was like, cool, no worries. And I'm just basically just utilizing the bat swarms and the spiders on these tents to get optimal positioning. I minced through, I think, first turn of shooting that we actually get in range, I think I took off like 6 hunter orcs. It was pretty nutty.
You'd love to face D4 with that kind
Oh,
of
D4. I was like forced to wound. Yes, please. And then the prowlers breaching a hole. Azog had to like dismount off his white wog just to try and plug a hole with the white wog. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Not what you want to say.
Felt bad. Either way, the game ended with me winning 10-0. I got my oath. I got like a little objective marker portion, and yeah, it felt bad because his keeper went into my spider, and he forgot that I hadn't moved yet. And I was like, cool, so Drizhag can rage. And he's like, oh, cool, I'll strike up with the keeper. And I'm like, yeah, cool, strike up. Rolls a 2 high.
Bye-bye.
And I'm like, oh. In that moment, you're done. Yeah, God.
Jesus.
He was like, what do you mean? The spiders are strength 5. I'm like, strength 7.
Now he's gotten strong. He's flexing.
He's above.
Yeah, AOL
He's
loves
big
that
boy.
low defense and relying on a big hero. Oh, that's the goal.
Scrumptious.
And a
Give me
nice
that
big base
all
as
day.
well to fit everything in.
Oh, so
Yum, yum,
good.
yum,
Just
yum,
let me get all the peel in the world.
Oh, 100%.
So you
Yeah, I went into mixed Riders of Theoden, and he took Daewine and Dernhelm, which I understand. I'm pretty sure Daewine was there for the March. I think I would have lent towards gambling, but he went for absolute spam of Riders of Rohan. I think he might have had 2 to 4 Royal Guard max. Everything else was a rider, which made for the potential to just sit and shoot me. But it is Maelstrom, and I thought, okay, I'm playing on a similar. There's a couple orcish tents in the middle. There's 4 forests right in the corners. Most of the time, forests, they would be out of the way. You're not really interact with them. I come on, I roll. I think I spend 1 might total. Everything comes onto 1 corner. I'm kind of on either side of a forest, but I'm close enough to everything. Mick rolls, I think he spends 2 might on Theoden from a 2 to get up to a 4, and just completely surrounds the forest and me. And I'm stuck in the corner facing 20 plus riders. And I'm sitting there going, okay, defense 5 and all, but if he just slowly puts dudes in and I have to walk through this forest, I don't know how long it's going to take me to get to the middle. I don't know if I break him or he breaks me before I can get to the middle, will I have time to even get there in the first place? And it just doesn't seem good. And the first turn of combat, that's all he does. He puts his captain. Did he have a captain?
No.
No,
Nope.
it's definitely day one.
It's Derwine, Durnhelm,
And a captain.
Theoden. Oh no, he does have a captain because
He has a captain as well. Yeah, because I thought he put a captain in and a royal guard, and I just completely fluffed, and they killed 4 dudes. And I went, oh, that's not good. And then he did it again. It just took me so long to get through the first 2 dudes. And like the captain eventually died, but I went, you saw the Theoden was down to like 1 or so might for Maelstroming on, but the others are sitting there. He's got so many riders shooting. Because I'm split, my poison's only affecting half my army. And I'm going, this is looking genuinely really bad. And by the time I get past the forest, I'm broken. And I have about 12 plus inches to go. And I've been transfixing Theoden most of it because I'm just preventing death for as long as possible. And I'm just going, this is gonna be rough. I kind of said to him, I need to throw caution to the wind, go for it, because otherwise I'm not winning this. And Soladan calls 3 hero combats in a row and gets to the middle and stands there.
Nice.
And there is, I think, 2 dudes and Theoden also there. And that's it. And the rest of my guys are coming, but they're going to take them a second. Theoden doesn't go in. Theoden just chills. I get charged by 2 dudes. I kill 2 dudes. I do. Oh, I think 1 or 2 more dudes come in. Soladan kills 2 more. And I'm going, oh my god, this dude is insane.
Beast mode.
And this is again flat 3 dice, 5s to wound, rerolling 1s because the betrayer's been spending so much will that he hasn't been able to do much poison. I've got some infantry troops coming in. I'm like, okay, I need 1 more turn. I need to just Soladan. He goes into 1 dude. I just kill this dude. We draw in the middle.
Damn.
And then I have 1 more turn. I just get you on. The game's gone for an extra 3-ish turns. I just need to go on. I win the fight against the 1 dude, and I think I can't remember if it was you or someone else, some other guys, because we were on the top level because we'd been doing well. Come over to watch. I'm like, Soladan wins. Just need 1-5, and I miss it. And the game ends that turn. He has 2 in the middle. I have 1, and so it goes to a 6-1 loss.
No.
And being that and from a position where I was going, I am so stuffed, to like Raza sacrificed himself to both Daewon and Durnhelm, but just held them off because they were off in La La Land dealing with him. The betrayer just like spent all his will just making sure that death just didn't happen. Soladan did so much work, but to fail at the final hurdle, sucked.
That's so rough.
Yeah, mate.
Oh, that's so tough.
But yeah, so first loss, so 2 wins, a draw, and a loss. You've got 3 wins and a draw. But overall, I'm still feeling like pretty solid. Again, I knew I was so close to that being again 1-5 plus there, or not the game not ending. Who knows what happens?
Yep.
But yeah, then we go to obviously drink and chill and to complain about how bad or good our dice rolling was. And then we run it again. And there's 2 more games, plus a Chaos in Ardacon game on the Sunday. So we're ready to have some memey fun.
Moo maximum pleasure is what it was.
Yeah, you're running a bootleg for that.
Maximum pleasure. That's
credit to Mike Kerr, by the way, for that name. Not mine.
That's beautiful. Maximum pleasure, baby.
Oh, that was actually
I'll show you my trunk.
Damn. Okay. So what is it? Round 5?
Dwarves not related.
God, my favorite scenario.
Round 5 destroys supplies, and you'll notice some recurring names because you had to face my round 4 opponent Mick. I had to face your round 2 opponent Denny.
Yeah. Yeah. Round 5. Okay. So destroy the supplies, my favorite scenario ever created. Thank you, GW.
Oh, you hate it?
I hate it with a passion.
We like it because we shoot stuff.
It literally irks me because of how much people just sit back and just shoot for high heaven. It does not make for an interactive game. It's just you're like, oh, I can shoot you from here. Oh, I have a banner. Let me just sit in the corner. It's like it sucks.
Look, we'll be getting onto it when we talk about the Masters competition. No. As in, I'm happy you're talking about it, but as in, we'll get onto it when we talk about the Masters competition in another video. But Yeah, I had my opponent sitting so far back shooting me that with 3 marches he didn't reach the objective in time.
You haven't even mentioned the dismount to make more room. But we'll talk about that another time.
About that
It's all
day.
good. Either way.
But yeah, so how did it pan out though? Because obviously this is again
so
heavy rider span.
Heavy rider span. The design of this list really is interesting. I would say this list is designed to play for a draw. Because of the way that it can, in a lot of scenarios, kite you and make sure that it's outside of your bow limit range. It can protect its banner really well. And it has enough punch in the worst case scenario, even if, say, Theoden gets wounded by a bow shot, that it can try and battle back for the VPs. And that's basically what this game was. It really was a cat and mouse game where I took space. I would shoot, he would kite, he would go backwards, and then I would go once, say, because he was like, oh, I'm winning too many priorities in a row. And I'm like, okay, no worries. And so he would just go fly back. And so I'd take even more space. And then, of course, I'm not just going to take a Rohirrim charge to the face. But he was very much, this game was just, yeah. It was like
he doesn't walk within your 12 inches because then he gets... Right, by shooting, you don't want to get charged by a full cav charge of fight 4 and fight 5.
And he, at 20 minutes in, he's like, "Do you just want to call it a draw?" This is 20 minutes in, and then he says the same thing about 50 minutes in, and then he says the same thing, asking for a draw at the 1-4, like an hour and 40 mark, and I'm just like, I can't be bothered. Like, I just literally can't be bothered. I tried to go for my oath. He realized what my oath was, so then he started trying to deny it, and I was like, "Oh, so now we're like interacting. Now we'll like get into it." And then priority swings, and I have to back up off the oath, and so then he takes the space. It ended up just being like, I'm done. Like, you can't be bothered with some of those games, and that's where I find Destroy the Supplies even more so incentivizes that, because if you have the banner, you're like, cool, I haven't lost a VP. I have my VP, and go from there. That's how this kind of game went. It wasn't definitely draws. Yeah, this type of game really was. I wasn't my favorite, but it's a part of the game. I guess the draw helped him make sure that he didn't lose and stayed in the top. Whatever. I think he ended up finishing right above me. I think he finished like 12th or something. So yeah, I think he just confirmed that he could stay in the top 15, 20.
Boo.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm too bad at the game. I can never crack that in top 10. That's how it goes. Either way.
Yeah, so you're still 2-2. Sorry, 3-2.
No, I drew that.
So, sorry.
Yeah.
But there's been now 5 games.
3 wins,
2 draws. Yeah.
Literally haven't dropped a game. Haven't dropped a game technically. So yeah, I count that as a win. Yeah.
Undefeated, baby.
I don't count it as a loss, therefore
undefeated, never lost.
If it's not a loss, it's a win, obviously. But yeah, I went into Denny's Dragon Emperor again. Awesome game to play. Great opponent. Dragon 9 Broadgear, so no marsh to deal with. There was obviously the drum. I set up pretty spread out. I'm taking my shots. I think I get rid of 3 of his acolytes and maybe 2 pikemen on the approach, which I'm feeling great about. He's left back kind of a token force of his drummer and a couple acolytes on his backfield. And it was just that awkward priority where he wins it. He's out of range to charge, so he gets kind of just in 6 inches. And so I have the chance of, I go forward with a kind of mere charge into a pike block. I can't wrap it. Or do I sit there, shoot, and then get hit with the full pike block further back on my side? I decided to go for the in-between strat, which is I threw a compel at a random dude in the front. I pull him out, so he's outside of 6 inches of the Emperor. He drops to fight 4. And the Betrayer, Swordan, and a Serpent Rider go onto him. The Betrayer calls a heroic combat. I win it. And Betrayer goes back behind my lines. And Swordan and the Serpent Rider shoot off 10 inches back towards his objectives. And so there's now a ticking clock where Swordan against a couple acolytes and a cataphract with a friend will eventually get those 3 objectives unless he sends a decent force back, or even the Dragon Knight or something. Meanwhile, I have no banner, and he has a 5/5 pike block, basically 8 inches off my objectives.
Ooh.
He wins priority again, which he's not happy about. But he goes again. He can't give up space. He can't let me shoot another turn. He moves up, and I wrap around each side of his pike block, and I go, I don't have a banner. I'm praying I just win the combats, and hopefully you're trapped enough that I can get kills. And boy, oh boy, I didn't even think I rolled that well. Denny just rolled so poorly.
No.
And I think he genuinely lost like at least 7 Easterlings.
Oh,
What?
And again, this is I have no Abraham guard. This is all strength 3 with rerolls, wounding on 6s, and I just won so many combats. And again, I'm getting heaps of rerolls, so there's lots of chances, but it was just, and I lost 2 in return. And when he's got all that going for him, it's just not a good look.
That should not happen.
So I think next turn, like Solden called a march, get on the first objective, get ready for the next one. He does start to claw it back, because eventually, again, fight 5, even when outnumbered, fight 5 will do a lot. A banner will do a lot. Brogia goes for he even channeled Fury, which I'm not 100% sure about, but it just did not pay off at all. I don't remember if it saved anyone. Maybe one. But just it paid off well because it was Fury in the end game. But in terms of the saves, the 6-up saves did not work in his favor. He did eventually grind through me, but the issue is I eventually just killed everything on the back objective. Soldan just did his thing. Couldn't be happier about that. And I believe it ended an 8-2 win to me. I'm trying to think. I got his 3 objectives, and
You would have had banner,
I
and you would have had a
alive
ban and broken.
Yeah. And then he obviously had broke
He
me
broke
inside
you.
the Dragon Emperor alive, but because he nearly got into 2 of my 3 objectives, but just managed to hang on. Especially I had a lot of pressure down. The Dragon Knight didn't get a lot of use out of him because the turns he was in combat, he had been so clustered together that a heroic combat wouldn't have. He would be able to get into like one more dude. He couldn't go backwards to reposition because I'd throw a transfix at him that he can't resist because he has no will. But it was all down to that first turn compel and just really creating this. You have to do this quick because I'm going to burn everything. And just that first turn where his charges got blunted was just massively helped. So some nice rolling there, thankfully. But a win. So I'm now 3 wins, a draw, and a loss. So again, still
not too shabby.
Reasonable position.
You're still doing great.
And we go into the final round.
Yep.
Oh baby. Breakthrough.
One of my favorite scenarios.
This is good.
Ooh.
This is good. This makes you move. I have no issues with this. Great.
And you were facing more of your kin.
Yes. Great. Woo! Fantastic. I love this game. So to give you some background as well, before this game, right? I'm chatting with Kylie trying to figure out where like my partner is and going, oh, like, hey, have you seen Chelsea? How's she going? How'd your game go? And all I get from one of the other fellow Americans on his team, I think it was like Ted, he goes, oh, you're not winning against Evan. And I was like, what are you saying that to me for? Like, I didn't even look at tourney. I hadn't even seen who I was playing until I put 2 and 2 together and rocked up to the table and like, oh yeah, it's Evan. I'm like, oh, okay, let's run it. Didn't even know he was playing. But it was an interesting thing because I haven't even thought of the Witch King. I haven't even seen the Witch King Spider Queen combo until this point. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be interesting. Either way, he deploys right at the front. I deploy about 11 inches back toward my back objective. And so basically he moves up. I do a couple of shots. I think I take off one Black Numenorian with all of my shooting, which is pretty piss poor.
Yes.
I started
Not good return.
moving though. A lot of my my orc captain and wog riders and wogs were moving to the left side. Spiders and bats. A bat was escorting each group, and a spat was escorting the group of spiders. The intention for the 2 spiders on the right side was to bait out the Witch King, which he then fell for the bait. I was like, perfect, because I then had another 5 goblin prowlers ready to shoot at him, which was awesome. But he then next turn, I think he compels the spider a little bit forward, gets a orc and something else I can't remember. I think it was like the Black Numenorians, and gets the Witch King in. Heroic combats, rolls a 4 high. I rolled a 5, so he has to spend an additional point of might. So then he kills that spider and then goes into the second spider. He then fluffs that combat. So then the spider cracks back at the Witch King and literally dismounts him off his horse. And I think does a cheeky little wound to the Witch King. I can't remember. I think he did it, or maybe it was a
And
prowler.
this is a 2 Fate Witch King.
This is a 2 Fate Witch King, by the way, which is awesome. I was like, this is
Yeah.
good. And he's off in La La Land by himself, right? While his rest of his army, I kid you not, is like 14, 15 inches away. So he's literally in no man's land. And he's like, oh, wait a minute. I didn't expect that to happen. And I was like, well, you overextended. And then I had a chance either way with my prowlers to try and dehorse him. So I was like, perfect. Either way, so he commits to the right side. I then take all the space through the middle. I'm able to get the objective on the left side eventually. I start just chewing through the Goblin Shaman. Absolute king. Oh, man, I've never been happier to have a Shaman with the Fury Bubble in my life. The Witch King couldn't really... he had too many options to pick whether or not to shut down my enraged spiders or the bats or... some of the wogs, and so he was like trying to pick and choose, and he never chose the shaman. And I was like, oh, perfect. And this shaman was so Chad at the end to stop him from getting from one of the objective. He goes, nah, don't worry, sir, I'll charge into the Witch King and the mouth to pin them. So then all of his orcs have to start taking courage checks, and I was like, yes, this is good. And his spider queen was didn't even see a combat. Oh no, saw one combat at the very end of the game. She was just running from my bows, and it was just and she fluffs a combat against my orc captain, and I'm like, cool, no worries. Doink. 2 wounds, and then she's on like 1 wound, and she's just like, oh, okay, great.
Just scared, yeah.
Great,
Amazing.
scared. But I didn't know about the broodling crap. So of course he one of the oaths, he uses the warrior oath to get some behind enemy lines, whatever. And so he deploys the 3 broodlings and just goes right to my board edge, and I'm just like, yep, that works.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep,
That's
cool.
That's fair. Hey, I'll have, we'll go with that. The back objective, of course, he has 6 orc trackers, 5 of them run away, and there's 1 shitter still there. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I just need you to go. And of course, and it's the last turn, and I'm like, great. And of course, my bot self didn't realize and didn't read the rules on the oaths. And so I was like, oh, I only have to outnumber him. I have 2 guys, and he only has 1. Minimum 3 models. Son of. And I even had an orc literally like 2 inches away from that. And I was like, so it would have been like 10-0 instead of 10-0 with an oath. Instead it was 7-0 no oath.
And
you didn't deny,
and I didn't deny his, and I was just like, you're kidding. Either way,
Well,
I got the dub. I shoved it in 10
Wins a win,
space.
baby.
That's it. That's the best part. Old mate going, you ain't gonna beat this dude.
You're not gonna
and then you
beat
just
him.
coming and going.
Look,
yeah.
He was a amazing opponent to play against as well. He wasn't arrogant, wasn't cocky, nothing. He played the game well, played the game fair, declared everything, had no issues. So genuine, I had no quarrels with him. But the for his teammate to say, "Oh, you're not gonna win," I was like, "Brother, just shush! Like, I don't even want to hear you." Like, I don't want to hear anything from the peanut gallery. Like, that's it. Like, oh man.
Oh,
But
love
yeah, we
it.
go from there.
My game, well, last game against Win, who was running basically just a list that I think is one of the most boring things. No, it had no bath or lax.
Oh,
Disappointing.
Galadriel,
Killjoys.
Haldia, and a damn fucking eagle. This is the thing is obviously very low model count. I'm gonna say like 26 models. I think that was
650.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
getting them, but you're not getting a lot. You're getting 26 to 28.
Again, breakthrough. I actually deploy back. So we're talking about it. He has blinding light. All his bowmen are wood elves though, so I'm thinking anything that goes through I should be able to kill. He kind of sits at like if you draw like from his back objective and one of the middle objectives, if you draw lines into like the back corner, he was kind of sitting in a forest back there. And I went, okay, so other than your back objective and you're like 8 to 10 inches away from the side objective, I have all the ground, and we're really committing to a shooting war, which I didn't expect. I really thought he would pop up on the center line, threaten Guahir from the start, and I was deployed back far enough that there was no compel plus Guahir for turn 1. Guahir's just chilling behind a building. And we have this like 3 or 4 turn dance where, again, I'm just trying to make sure there's no Guahir shenanigans that are going to happen. He's hiding Guahir perfectly. I keep winning priority, which sucks because I can't set anything up.
The worst.
We trade maybe like 2 kills. It's just, he has blinding light. I'm like behind terrain and things. I'm just limiting it. And then I finally go, okay, my win condition is get rid of Guahir, and then I can outfight the rest of the army. There's no issues there. And then the Betrayer spent 1 will so far just to do a poison. And then I went, you know what, we need it for other stuff. I have 13 will left. In the next 3 or 4 turns, I go down to 1 will. I cast 3 or 4 compels turn after turn onto Guahir. I throw the first one, he resists it. I think he spent 2 dice, gets a 6 on 1, so he's down 1 will. I throw another one, he has to throw a will or 2. He gets I think he got another one back, so he's down to 1 will. I'm like, oh, that sucks. I fail to cast one, and then he positions behind the lines, manages to compel a guy forward, get Guahir and some dudes in, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna get my chance to get into him. I only have like 4 shots available because I'd moved up a bit. I luckily kill that one Haradrim that's in there, and I'm like, stunning, beautiful, yum. And
oh my god,
his
wow.
army's kind of right next to a big fence, and the big fence is pretty big.
He's a big fence.
Oh, that's nice.
And I go, I'm on like 5 will. I poison, go down to 4. I throw a 3 dice compel, go down to 1.
What's
Oh,
wrong
brother.
with you? What is that?
You are a brave.
You're
down-
you're
'cause
dead down.
He was
boy.
down because I don't know. He must have been down to 0 will. I wouldn't have done it if he was on 1 will.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, what?
And I think he might have even spent 1 might in that resisting. He must have, because he does it. I make him jump over this fence towards my entire army. I throw forward 6, 7 dudes to plug the fence. They sit behind to prevent a heroic combat. I'm refusing to make way, of course, for Haldia or anything. Everything jumps on this Guahir. I double strike up with Raza and Soladan. 1 shot.
Hell yeah.
And again, this
Yeah.
is like a 3 might, 12 will investment.
Yeah.
But as soon as
I don't care what investment it is. That's just not. As a Guahir player, I don't know if I approve. I don't approve this message.
But and honestly, from that point, it became your whole force is on 1 side objective with a couple token dudes on the back. I have my back objective 14 inches back. The side objective, I've got 2 dudes just sitting there, and it became just how long does it take me to overwhelm and kill you? The crazy thing was, Raza got like 2 turns of combat into Galadriel, and I don't think he got a wound. As in, I don't think I cracked through the fade.
Yeah.
After all the bogus shit he did in the first day and what he
Couldn't
killed in the
touch-
first game,
Couldn't touch Galadriel.
defense 3 is too much.
Bruh. He was like,
But
I need a break.
Actually,
bruh."
looking at it, I think I must have wounded, but I didn't get the kill in the end, which is unfortunate. Thanks. But it was as soon as and I put so much into it. Guahi goes down, everything gets to focus on that.
Nice.
I think I and Haldia being one will is super susceptible. But I had no will, and I just went balls to the wall. Let's see if I can make it easy for myself. Suladan goes in, strikes up, kills him. Kill. Sick.
Mother of God.
It was just nice. Okay, the Guahi one I deserve. That one,
no. That's fine. But you going into Haldir and going.
But again, he had to spend a couple. He was only on one might, so he's a two attack. He had one might. So he had one might. He was a two attack model.
Yeah, no. Clarification is key there, because what I was thinking was Haldir hasn't got any resources.
No, because he was sending it. Because if he got like the perfect compel plus heroic combat on that turn with Guahi, he could have peeled enough dudes off. Gotcha. So he was spending resources that turn to try and save it.
try and save him. Yeah,
exactly. And from that point, it's kind of mob us. That was an 11-1 win.
Nice. Awesome.
And
Let's go.
Can't complain. Shall we go to the stats? Let's
look at it. What were your finishes in the end there, boys? So Alex, you were on.
I got Sean.
Oh, you got the stats right here at the end.
I've got it handled.
Bing bong.
I pulled it out. So Tyler,
you're live.
Tyler, big. So apparently, so 4 wins, 2 draws, no losses, undefeated. Hell yeah.
It's big.
No
the king.
Exactly, the king.
Well, it says 6 oaths tonight. But so you did Evan get his
second
oath,
best player in Australia, no question.
Let's go.
So Tyler, did you deny Evan's oath? Or
no. He no, I deny. Did I deny his? Maybe I didn't.
5.
Maybe I denied 5, but I definitely had 3 oaths achieved.
Okay, I applied. So 5 oaths denied, 3 oaths achieved. 30 plus 34 VP diff, average of 7 a game. Hell yeah. 13th overall. The opponent difficulty stat I didn't know was a thing until the very end. So essentially, it's adding together the final position of every opponent you faced.
So strength of schedule.
It's just strength of schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
But done in a way that they couldn't just average it out. Yeah. So yeah, the lower the better. So realistically, these numbers are actually pretty close when you consider 6 different opponents. A difference of 50 isn't actually. I don't think it seems
over the course of the 6 games, not too bad. But yeah.
But yeah, for myself, 4 wins, the draw, and the loss. I denied all 6 oaths. I scored 4, which was actually what kept me up, even though I did lose a game.
Yep.
Lower VP differential, but I scored 8 a game. And finished 1 behind you, which is just so infuriating.
Picturesque, bro. Picturesque. What you mean? Second best player has to represent, bro. You have to remember this.
I read it once. The first time I read it, I thought I was ahead of you, and I was so excited.
Bro, you were ready to rub that shit in my face, and I was gonna be like, "Really? We're doing this?"
I had to back down.
And then you were like, "Bro," but it was funny because you saw the result. You were like, "Bro, instead I was 13th and you were 14th. I'm so confused," and I'm just like.
It was such revenge.
Never happened
at Tassie the week before. Or a couple weeks before that. That was ridiculous. But look, what a shit. And overall, we had Kylie above us in 9th. And then I believe the other highest performing guys were
Liam.
Liam was 21st with his Boromir, Iralas, Huron, and Jack with his War Leader was in 33rd or 32nd. This is like 198 people.
Yeah, I was going to ask how many people. So like 13th and 14th out of 198 people is an achievement and a half. That is big.
Yeah, no, it was awesome.
It's hard to comprehend like the scale of it and the different things you encounter and the different ways people interpret the game and the rules and everything. And this kind of flows on into our kind of final topic, is just about overall. I know, right? I didn't even mean to. It just kind of slideshow just gave it that transition to me. It's kind of sick.
It was beautiful. It was all planned.
Very nice.
But Ty, you kind of touched on it in your Destroy the Supplies game. But obviously, we're interacting with so many different countries with their own way to play the game, or how they approach the game, how they talk about the game.
their own FAQs, perhaps.
Yeah,
Their own
exactly. The
FAQs.
French FAQ. Sorry, whoops, I'm sorry.
The French FAQ is
Oui,
the
oui, oui.
pinnacle of
French
the pinnacle of gaming.
I couldn't believe that when Chelsea told me that there was a French FAQ in their doubles. I was like, what? What do
To
you
be clear
mean?
for the audience as well, we're not saying that this is the French translation of the FAQs. This is a FAQ they have written that they were attempting to impose into the Ardacon games.
into the
Incredible.
game, into a doubles game, which was very. They were like, "Oh, we play it like this," and it's like,
But
I'm not in France, but I'm not there. Either way, we're not doing this.
But yeah, how did you feel? Because obviously we kind of touched on when we started talking about oaths about the ability to kind of look for those draws plus oath is you kind of want to do, like, realistically, if you're wanting to finish as high as possible,
or be a sort of a crutch for your team to try and get as high of a placing as you can. It can be, to be honest, it can be a useful strategy, and I guess that's where you'll see some, like, even like the Nations Cup had some of the stuff where it was like the compositions. You could see some of the army compositions, the way they were built. The intention was, look, if they can't win, they're playing for the draw against certain opponents, right? And that's fair, and that's fine. I don't think in the spirit of the game that's how that should be played. I think you should be playing to win every game, but it's a strategy, and we have to accept it. It just sucks when it happens to you, because you feel like it's like, we just flew 18,000 kilometers. I just got engaged on this trip. Like, I'm here to freaking have a load of fun with my partner at this event. I don't want to have to hear about this, that, or the other thing of French FAQs, people playing for draws, and this, that. I don't care. Like, I'm here to just play the game that I love and get into it, roll some dice, hear about how shitty my luck has been, and go from there. Like, that's where I just felt it just wasn't. Yeah, I think there are some things I definitely would have wanted clarification on. Terrain, as I said. There was also like some of the sportsman conduct of some people was pretty poor. Having a gentleman come up to, and or first interaction is like, "Oh, excuse me, I know my attitude may come across as really rude and such, and I know I may look like I have a resting bitch face and so on and so forth, but it's not my intention." And it's just like, cool. So are you trying to excuse the fact that you're going to have a poor attitude throughout the entire game? So you're aware of the problem, or you're aware of a problem, and your solution is to tell me that, so then I excuse that for the entirety of the game. I had that opponent question me on 3 rulings, in which all 3 rulings I got Sam involved, and I was right on all 3 occasions. And I was just like, really? We're doing this? Okay. Either way, like, those are things. Otherwise, in terms of the positive aspects, I love the idea of the team event. I love it. It brings so many different countries, different perspectives, different metas, different game styles. It brings it all to light. I think, yeah, I definitely would want to do it again. I definitely think we need to develop the Australian All-Star team, though. So I'm just saying, like, if they want to bring the GBHL All-Stars, I'd like to do a Australian All-Stars team. That'd be fucking sick. I won't be a part of it.
We will touch on as well, yeah, because the overall standing, so the podium for the teams, had the US in 3rd.
Yes.
Us Aussies were in 2nd, but clinching the title was the GBHL All Stars. So there is something to shoot for and a team to take down. Yes. They said they weren't scared of us, but they had to put together that sort of team.
An all-star team.
Take us down. Golems Gamers, come at us.
Look, they're good players. You can definitely say Dave Farmer's. Oh man, he's definitely good, and it was fun to see him win the actual event. I did not want to see Arnor win again. Holy mackerel!
Right. I think something that we should definitely touch on is that none of the quote-unquote negative things that we have said is any form of, slander towards the event. All in all, from all reports, it was an incredible event. A few hiccups here and there that seems like not entirely the event's fault, but more a case of other, like just the conduct of players, which that happens at every single event that anyone will ever go to.
Especially when you have that many people as well, because it's magnified. Because if 1% of people are doing it with that many people, it means there's more instances of it. So
yeah, absolutely. And these events, especially the international ones, whether it's Ardacon or if it's Nations Cups, are brilliant for, as Tyler said, bringing all these nations together, and all the countries get to not just mingle, but share their different ideas and opinions and whatnot on the game, which is phenomenal. And it creates some healthy banter, which the Australian, side of the world definitely has with the British, which we absolutely adore. And we just want to keep carrying that light-hearted, ribbing, maybe pushing the boundary a little bit, because it's even funnier. So yeah, no, these events are absolutely brilliant for it. I, really wish that I could attend one of these events one day, but I'm a bit too poor when it comes to finances to make the trip. But also, would I make an Australian All-Stars team? Probably not. So
yeah, absolutely. And no, when I say All-Stars, we don't need to be all. We literally
if we
can
had 9
just
people,
drink.
that's good enough.
Drink. I don't care. I just want to. Like,
I'll be part of the Australian drinking all-star team.
We can definitely
the goal of each event in Ardacon is literally to see how many people will actually accept a drink from you, and then you kind of go from there.
Oh, that'd
That'd be an interesting challenge.
That's big. That's big. I could do that.
It would be good. So,
awesome. Sean, you want to take us out, dude?
Yeah, let's get out of here. I want to go to bed because I've got to go to work early tomorrow morning.
Hell yeah.
From me to you, from Alex to you, from Tyler to you, from the wider MGG community to you watching through your phone, computer, whatever it may be, PS5, whatever. Have a lovely night or morning.
Get in the comments, tell us how bad we are.
Love you.